Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Mental Health Support. Those of us that are in the KS Media Group app, we are the people that are here to influence you to live the life of your creation, to live a better life. And now, especially, there is a time where a lot of people are dealing with mental health issues and they need mental health support. I personally found that we think between 60 and 80,000 thoughts per day. And 85% of those thoughts are negative, and we will think them again tomorrow. So it's important that when we look at what is it that's causing the negativity to continue and how can we change it, it's important to know that you have the tools. You already have the tools. And I'm going to introduce you to many people in this conversation that are going to help you to realize, oh my gosh, yeah, these negative thoughts, it's not personal. It's something that we've all had to deal with. And we have the tools that we want to share with you today. So, my first person that I want to introduce you to, she's also in our KS Media Group app. That's Susan Axelrod. How have you dealt with, Susan, negative thoughts, or how do you work with the negativity that you've been faced with with your own mental process?
Only here in the KS Media Group will will we be able to truly reveal our authentic voice in business. Cornelia, I suffered from depression for many years. I've been on a journey many, many years. I am the confidence coach. Being the confidence coach does not mean that I don't suffer from negative thoughts. It does not mean that I don't have my crying sessions. It does not mean that I am not human. The tool that I use very frequently now, these are difficult times, is asking myself the question, what's happening here? What is intended? When I come up against that edge, Cornelia, I'm more able now to pull myself back from the edge by taking that breath and asking myself this question, why am I thinking that? What's happening here? What's going on? How does this serve me? That's how I pull myself back, even as the confidence coach.
It's good to know. It's good to know that when you're listening to this, that we all have negative thoughts. We've all come to the place that where we pull ourselves out. And that's the part of this support call today is we want to be able to help you so that you too can remember and realize that you can pull yourself out of it too. Trish Campbell is our next leading expert on this call. What is it, Trish, that have you faced negative thoughts? Have you faced depression? Have you faced this, mental
Yeah.
health?
Yes. I mean, and to Susan's point, to your point, we're coaches, we're supporting others in their journey through this, but we experience it ourselves. And I've experienced it in cycles. It comes and goes. And one of the tools that I have used more and more recently myself personally is what I've come to realize most effective is to speak it out. We've been so socialized to suppress what we're feeling, and now it's time to express it. That's what I have come to um, just find so much healing in letting it out of my body, and that's from being in this group and from you specifically working with you, Cornelia, and offering that tool. That has become my go-to now, is to get it out, say it, speak it out, because immediately it releases it from the body, and it's not just circling in a reel within my mind and in my body. And then I start to uncover, like Susan said, what's behind it and what is at the root of it. Because a lot of times it's not even what I think it is, it's something deeper. So that, but that first step, whether it's like writing it out and then reading what I wrote, or talking to somebody and that's holding space in that, or just saying it out loud to myself sometimes, is what I have found as a useful tool for that.
That's wonderful. So acknowledging the thoughts that you're thinking, speaking them out
Mm-hmm.
loud so that basically you can hear them. That's one of the processes that you're using and that you're sharing. Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Thank you.
So our next leading expert is Jenny C. Cohen. Welcome. What about you, Jenny? Do you ever deal with negative thoughts? Do you ever deal with negativity, repetitive negative thoughts?
Oh, if you all could be in my head with me on a daily and moment by moment process. So here's the thing for me, I've learned that when I'm not present is when something currently happens, and then I fall onto ways to overcome my moments of powerlessness from my past. Now, I advocate always therapy, and for me specifically, it was for complex PTSD. However, now that I have gained some perspective, how I focus on keeping myself present is I tune into my 5 senses: taste, smell, hearing, physically, and also vision last, while I play or explore movement. And in doing so, that has kept me very present. And then I'm intuitively more aware of who I surround myself with. So I'm always in community with people who see me from my values, so that can be reflected back to me. Because when we're having those down moments, it's hard for you to see your own value. It's hard for me to see my value. So I'm very grateful to be in this community and to be a part of the KS Media Group.
Thank you, Jenny. That's wonderful. I always love that you bring that message of movement, dance to heal. That's the thing. And you also spoke to being supportive, being in a supportive community, and that helps. So it's great to know every person has their own unique process, right? And here is one of our leading influencers. That's David George Brook, that gratitude guy. What is it that you do, David? How do you deal with negativity? And do you ever have any negative thoughts today?
Absolutely. Thanks, Cornelia. I think looking back on my family history, I come from a family that had a lot of mental health issues. My father committed suicide. My mother was bipolar. My brother was schizophrenic. My wife passed away from a prescription pill overdose. So there were so many things that I had to figure out a way to deal with. And so negativity is always going to be around us. It's just something, it's just part of life. But I think what everybody's really looking for is a healthy coping mechanisms, because there's so many deadly and destructive coping mechanisms that are out there. They're killing people every single day. And it's just people trying to feel better and not feel bad. And so gratitude is certainly a huge part of it for me. The gratitude journal, it's 5 minutes a day. One of the things I recommend to people that is so powerful is to create a power hour. So every single morning before you turn on your computer, your cell phone, your internet, or anything, you create an hour for yourself. Maybe it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever. My example is the first 10, 15 minutes, get up, make the bed, take the shower, get dressed and so forth, go in and get my vitamins and my green juice and maybe get the lattes going, then spend 15 minutes meditating. It's so important. Then to spend 5 or 10 minutes in a gratitude journal or on the KS Media app to put your gratitude thoughts in there. Another 15 minutes to stretch, and then maybe a 5 minutes on a yoga pose, and then the computer is turned on. But it's the best way to prepare yourself for a day, because you're bombarded with the negative gamma rays of life all around us. It's just ridiculous. It's such a challenge, and so many people are challenged by life. So to have some tools like the gratitude journal, like the power hour, it can really help you to set up your day for one of success.
Wow, that was power. It must have been because you said the power hour. I'm thinking about the smoothie, and I'm thinking about the yoga pose, and I want to, everything you said, yes, I want to, do that right now. So I'm having a wonderful time listening to all of your resources, and so grateful to all of you sharing your wisdom. Thank you, David. And now Nadine Searle, she's in the KS Media Group also, and she's known as the Calmer Self. And so what do you ever struggle with any negative thoughts, any mental thoughts that aren't serving? And how do you deal with that, Nadine?
Thank you for asking me, Cornelia. Yes, I'm human. It hits me from time to time. I suffered debilitating depression, and this is why I've developed my Calmer Self method to help people. And what I tend to do is I create with my clients this calm, happy, safe place. We find a place that we can go to, that we can tap into. We learn how to tap into that when we need it. And to know that it is okay, it's quite a cliche, but it's okay to not be okay. and to learn how to be comfortable sitting with those difficult emotions, because it's scary. I used to be terrified of my depression hitting, because it comes when you're not expecting it, doesn't it? And it still does sometimes for me, but I know what to do about it now. And that's what I enjoy, helping other people to recognize their triggers, learn exactly how that feels for them, what it means for them, and to know that they can come through it. And the more that people practice, the quicker they get at it, the more confidence they build. So we're not so scared of those moments when we have depression and anxiety. And that is life-changing. And I love the fact that I help people that way.
It's really neat to know that, you know, you don't have to act on the negative thoughts. It's nice to know that you don't have to act on those. You may be thinking those, and when we know that the thoughts that we think, we can change them, and that basically our bodies respond to the thoughts that we think. So it's important to empower yourself if you're struggling on a mental level with negative thoughts or depression. It's important that you surround yourself with a wonderful community like this, and that
Exactly,
you
the
surround
support.
yourself
Yeah.
with positive thoughts, and realize that, you know, we all have that. Like Nadine said, I'm human, and yes, and we face that part within ourselves, but then we can also know what to pull ourselves out of it. So
Yeah.
thank you, Nadine, for sharing.
Thank you.
So welcome another leading edge influencer, T Lotus. Welcome, T Lotus. Thank you for being here. And what is it? Do you ever suffer from negative repeating thoughts?
As the peace, love, and light person that I like to radiate that peace, love, and light. Yes, I do have negative thoughts occasionally. And this year, I've become the healer that needs healing. I lost my oldest son in January of this year. So this entire year has been about my grief journey, and I have experienced depression, waves of grief, and negative thoughts. What has helped me this entire year, well, being a part of the KSMG group, reaching out, clearing my throat chakra, and speaking, acknowledging and speaking out the thoughts. And also that knowing that I am not my thoughts. Who I am and what I am is a beautiful, radiant, spiritual being connected directly to source. And so even in the midst, in the moment of having those negative thoughts, having negative emotions, and allowing myself to think or feel them, that knowing allows me to take action, like reaching out to someone or writing about it. Writing is a wonderful tool that allows me to release. So yes, I have experienced, and it's beautiful to know that I do have a wonderful community here with the KSMG group that allows me to be vulnerable and express when I have those thoughts, but also that knowing that allows me to move forward towards healing myself with those thoughts.
It's amazing listening to you and knowing that you lost your son to suicide this year, how you are sitting here, the way that you are communicating, and we can only imagine this unbearable grief that you felt. So thank you for your contribution, and thank you for the work that you're doing, keeping on, going on, helping and healing, you know, and living life. So you're amazing, T. You're an amazing role model.
Reflected. Thank you.
Yes. And so Cindy Lynn, welcome. So how do you deal with negative thoughts, and have you had to face any negative thoughts in your environment?
Absolutely, I've had them, and I very much related to how you talked about having the same ones over and over. And I reflect as well what T. Lotus had said about that healing process, because when I have those repeated cycling negative thoughts, I know that it's something that needs healing. And I think in the old world paradigm, it meant something that we had to fix in ourselves. You know, you go in, you figure out what it is, and you fix it. And I'm very much about, yes, healing within, but also healing with and healing in a community. And one of the most positive things about this community that we've developed and the resources that are here is that, I don't know about you, but many of those repetitive negative thoughts happen about midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, when you aren't necessarily going to call somebody on the phone. And the resources that this group provides are available 24/7 to tap into and to get that sense of community all of the time, so that when we have those thoughts, when we want to heal, when we need other ideas and other comforts interjected, we're here for each other, and we're here for all of the members of the app.
What a great resource, what you shared. It's that 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it certainly can relate to waking up. What wakes you up in the middle of the night? What wakes you up? And then you can, again, turn to your community, the people that are here to support you, to know that you're not alone, and that whatever negative thoughts, we've all faced them. We've all faced the thoughts of, I don't want to live anymore. Why am I here? You know, what is all of this about? And that's, like T said, I am not my thoughts. So this is important. Thank you so much, Cindy. And Diane McClay, welcome from the Choice and Courage Company.
Hi, Cornelia. Thank you for inviting this conversation. I have grown up in a family where mental health issues were pushed underneath the rug. We had family members that we knew were different, in quotes, they were off. You know, we all had the weird aunt, but there was never an acknowledgement of what their needs were or what was going on. And now as an older adult, it makes me sad that I didn't have the tools that this group is offering to reach out to the family members that were suffering from mental health concerns. And it makes me want to reach out and tell everybody else that if you're in a family where you see this going on, but you think it's not a big deal, or you think that somebody else has it handled, or you think that it's embarrassing to talk about, you need to step up, right? You need to step up and realize that you being embarrassed by somebody with mental health concerns is nothing compared to the challenge that the person has who is having that depression or those suicidal thoughts or those health issues or something that drags them into the darkest of the shadows. And as human beings, I think we have a responsibility to see people. And that's what I do. At the Choice and Courage Company, I see you. I see each and every one of our group members in who they really are. I receive them and I absolutely believe in them. And the thing that works for me, my negative thoughts that I've dealt with are not really big and grandiose and obvious, but when I changed careers, I started to question who I was and what my worth was and what my value was and why was I here. What I know now is we all have a very unique piece to ourselves that the world absolutely needs. And finding a group of people who can see me for who I am and help give me belief in myself, like the KSM Media Group app, this mastermind has been literally a lifesaver for myself and a lot of people. And I want to leave people with that you always have a choice. I have 2 words on my wall. It's choice and courage. And we have more choice in every situation than what we're led to believe or what we think we have. And it starts with awareness. As soon as you have awareness about something, your power goes up. As soon as you create options from that awareness, your power goes up even more. And as soon as you make a choice from one of the options you make, so regardless of what type of negative thought you have. There's always a different way. And I leave people with the question, what if you just changed your perspective? What if you saw it just a little bit differently and ask yourself, whatever you're thinking, is it always true? Because if it's not always true, there's room to change. And I just really, really appreciate you putting the light on this sensitive and yet critical topic for us and the world. Thank you.
Thank you. I think, again, recognizing our humanity and that we've all struggled with negative thoughts, you know, it's beautiful how we've risen above it and how we've changed our lives and how we help other people. And that's what it is. And that's why we're talking to you today, that if you have the negative thoughts, that is okay. And that there's ways for you to rise up and out of it with all the various different resources that were just shared. And so let me introduce you to Dr. Kate Steiner. Dr. Kate, do you ever struggle with negative thoughts? And have you ever struggled with negative thoughts?
Yeah, I was actually struggling today and still struggling a little bit, which is why I offered myself the permission for most of our meeting today to be off camera. And so I think that that is something that is incredibly important for people to remember is how are you managing your energy in this space, and that it's okay to show up as you are in that moment as best you can in that moment. For me, listening to the majority of our meeting was my best in that aspect. And so I think that that's incredibly important, that we don't ask, don't ask others for that permission, but give yourself that grace and their permission to know that it's okay to show up in the space that you need to, or to not show up in a space if that's not going to honor you in that moment and your experience. The other piece that I use and I think is incredibly important for the work I do with clients when it comes to burnout recovery, but certainly in the mental health space, is called the comfort list. And so we as humans, especially when we are struggling, we need to find a space of comfort. And so knowing what those things are that bring you calm, peace, comfort, joy, a sense of harmony or balance before you get into those states of feeling more in crisis can help you come out of them faster. So for me today, I know that I'm going to employ a couple of things from my comfort list. One is going to be movement. So I'm going to be moving my body, but in a kind way. So it's probably going to be a yoga practice or something to that effect, as opposed to like weight training and heavy lifting. I'm also going to watch a really cheesy romantic comedy later today. And I know that that's going to bring me a sense of joy and calm. So that's a couple of things that I will offer to our group members and to those who are listening.
Excellent. Definitely love that comfort list, and also giving yourself permission to show up as you are. That sounds familiar. That's really a beautiful way to be. And you know, because we don't have to always come and have it perfect. We're going to come with our feeling sadness at times, and we're going to come where we're, you know, not everything is okay, but that we show up and come as we are, or not come at all. Both of those are also okay. So our last person that we're going to speak to today on this mental health subject is Olivia Parwood. Welcome. Thank you, Olivia, for being here. And do you ever struggle with negative thoughts or have negative thoughts, and how do you deal with that?
Well, that's such a great question. I feel like it's kind of become a superpower of mine because I had such a challenging childhood. I know many of us have shared being in trauma, and I've gained some wisdom over the years. So I call myself your wisdom warrior. Some of the things I do for sure surround myself with people who are positive. And I know others have mentioned that, but to me, that's just critical. I've really eliminated people in my life that don't just always think in negative ways. And then there's so many great apps or opportunities on the app to just listen to positive messages and meditations. And so I always take advantage of those. many times when I'm sleeping at night, I will listen to positive affirmations. I know back in the 90s, I was in a really stressful corporate position and I was in crisis. I couldn't sleep. And I would put on positive affirmations while I was sleeping. And I swear it overwrote my brain after a few weeks. And I did it almost every night for about 6 years. And I still do it occasionally. So if I'm having negative thoughts, especially if I wake up early in the morning, that's a time when they kind of creep in. I'll put on some positive affirmations and I often just fall back to sleep feeling good about it. So that's really my advice, and to use the app for all of these amazing ways to lift your spirits. Thanks.
You've just given me another idea, Olivia, for us to create a positive affirmations call.
Yeah.
So that we go around, we're going to create one. We're going to do that. I definitely need that. I don't want people to have to go somewhere else to go listen to positive affirmations. I want people to come here. Download
Right.
the Cornelia Stephanie Media, KS Media Group app. Download it on your phone, create your free account, and get the free ebook, and then have access to all the content. All these people, all these wonderful people that are here to influence you to live your best life, to live and create your best life. I personally struggled myself with negative thoughts. And when I found that that was it, I said, I'm not going to judge myself anymore. I don't want to think about myself anymore. One of my favorite tools, boundary. I set a boundary and I drew the line in the sand. And I said, from today forward, I do not allow negative judgments against myself ever again. That boundary, that line is in the sand and it's just not allowed over here. So, whatever negativity would want to come up, the line, just point it to the line. Here's the boundary. Go look at that boundary. No negative thoughts about the self allowed, because I only want to see myself in the highest. And that's the truth. And so by seeing myself in the highest, I see other people in their highest as well. And by rebelling against negative thoughts, against myself, uh, using the thoughts to harm myself, right? That's not allowed here. So only loving thoughts for this loving person that's sitting here talking to you, the loving person that's sitting here listening to me, and that this is all true. So we want to thank you so much for listening on today's mental health, our first video on mental health support. We're going to be making another video for you that's going to be about the emotional support that's coming up soon. We want to thank all of our leading world's best experts supporting us here on this call today. Thank you for being here, and check us all out in the app. Go get your free account and create your best life now. Thanks, everybody.